Hey YouTube, I'm back today with a new kind of video. So you guys know normally I'm giving you guys some Bath & Body Works videos, beauty, wax, that kind of thing. But I've been a little bit inspired lately because in my feed I've been naturally seeing some hauls lately that are like school supply hauls and kids clothing hauls because at least in the retail world it is back to school season. So I decided that I'm in a unique position since I'm a teacher to bring this new kind of video to you. So I decided to make a video of the top 9, or at least my top 9 back to school teacher gifts. So before I get into my list, something I want to say is if you're kind of looking at this and like kind of grumbling and saying, oh my god, it's one more thing to buy, yada yada yada, no, I am 100% certain that any teacher in your life or your child's teacher or whatever is not expecting a gift. This is just for people who tend to buy gifts for teachers anyway. So these are just some ideas if you tend to do that normally. So yeah, like I said, your teacher is not expecting a back to school gift. The first 2 weeks of school, we're in survival mode. Like we're just trying to learn kids' names, get into the curriculum. And so we're so not focused on, well, little Johnny didn't give me anything. No, that's not a thing. All right. Like I said, it's just for if you're already a gifter, if you already tend to purchase things as good sentiment for teachers, this is just a guide for that. So also before I get into this, I do have a mix of things that cost money, which I'll go over first, and a mix of things that don't cost money, which maybe you didn't think about, but could be really helpful this year. So without further ado, I'm just gonna jump right in and get started. So my number one, I'm going to, in terms of the items you would purchase, I'm gonna go from least sexy to most sexy or cutest. So number one, my least sexy thing I could think of that your teacher will find extremely useful: Kleenex. So I know you're probably already sending your kid with a couple boxes of Kleenex or whatever, but it's pretty common for teachers, even though it seems like they're getting a ton, not necessarily. It's really common for teachers to run out of that, and especially during wintertime when you got lots of sniffles going on in your classroom during a test, you need those Kleenex. So yeah, if you are ever in a position to think about gifting a teacher anything, or if you ever want to, it's not sexy, but Kleenex. Make sure it's not the single ply, by the way, because especially during wintertime, that's rough on little noses, so just keep that in mind. Next, again, not sexy, but a little bit more exciting, is a 3 for 4. So I've got pencils, glue sticks, crayons. Not sexy, but teachers need this stuff. So something that's making me happy so far is I'm finding that people who are hauling back to school are buying good quality pencils. Even if you're not a gifter, buy good quality pencils. My brand is Dixon Ticonderoga. I love it. That is my brand for pencils. Most of the time I'm writing in pen, but if I'm writing in pencil, that's it. And I say that not to ask you to spend more money, but in terms of pencils, it seems kind of silly, but you get what you pay for. So the really cheap ones tend to not erase very well, they don't write very well, and they definitely don't sharpen very well. So that's why I say spend a little bit more money, even if you're only buying for your kid, and go for the name brand pencils. They will work out much better, and your kid will be able to use them better. So yeah, pencils. It seems ridiculous how many you are asked to send with your kid, but believe me, if you have ever witnessed, even teenagers, if you have ever witnessed a student using a pencil, you would understand why you're asked to buy so many. I went through so many last year, especially. It was crazy. I was always running out of pencils. So yeah, good pencils. If they ask you to buy 50, it's not so that, like, we can line our pockets with pencils is because your kid probably loses them. Like, kids in general lose pencils. Same thing with glue sticks and crayons. If you're wondering why they're asking you to buy like 20 glue sticks, is because kids lose them, they don't put the cap back on, they lose the cap, they dry out, they use too much, yada yada yada. And with that, teachers are also frequently running out of glue sticks. So I actually, even in my secondary classroom, like, I would totally love to have more glue sticks. That sounds fantastic to me. Same thing with crayons. You know, they just get lost, they get broken, they get thrown away, you know, whatever. You know, it's kind of like, or your classroom is kind of like a vortex. Like, you know how you lose socks in the dryer? We lose supplies in the classroom. I have no idea where they go. Like, I could not tell you. Like I said, it's like socks in a dryer. Like, it's like a black hole that is my classroom. We just lose stuff in it. So that's why, again, if those numbers seem ridiculous, regardless of whether or not you're a gifter, that's why the numbers are so high. But yeah, teachers themselves are also always running out of pencils, glue sticks, crayons, markers, highlighters, like, you know, those kinds of things. Next is stationery. So if you want to be kind of cute, but you also want to get your teacher something very useful, I'm a big advocate for stationery. You can get really basic with like Post-its and whatever. You can get bougie with like Kate Spade to-do lists, you know, stuff like that. So teachers will always love stationery. I use it every day for multiple purposes. They're great gifts. Next, gift cards. So it's really common for, you know, a teacher to naturally have a Starbucks, or if there's a Sonic in your area, then like lots of Sonic cups in any given school, lots of Chick-fil-A cups in any given school. Teachers love that stuff. So yeah, gift cards to any place locally or whatever that you think your teacher would enjoy is always appreciated, and it doesn't have to be expensive. And then finally, in terms of things that you pay for, this is for my Bath & Body Works people, pocket backs or hand sanitizers. So one of my own classroom hacks I use is I've always got at least one pocket back in my desk, because not only do my kiddos ask for hand sanitizer sometimes, but also because they have a high alcohol content, they're good for removing stubborn whiteboard stains. So yeah, they're a great thing to always have on hand in my desk. Love it. And if you want to give Bath & Body Works, if you want to give something fun, go for the 5 for $6 pocket backs. They're great, and they make fantastic teacher gifts that are inexpensive but also useful. So those are my items that cost money. Now I have 4 items that don't cost anything. So my next gift that is great for a teacher, especially if you're at the elementary level, is chaperoning or helping out in class. So if there's a field trip that the class is going on, or if there's a day where the class is having a party or some kind of like major activity in the room and the teacher is calling for chaperones or calling for helpers, if you're able to, that is a great way to help out the teachers. So yeah, it's a lot of work kind of like rounding up children while you're doing that kind of activity, or you're out doing a field trip somewhere. So that's why they're always asking for chaperones. So it is much appreciated if you can be a chaperone or if you can be a classroom helper. Plus, kids, especially the little ones, always love seeing their parents at school. My next one is making sure that your child reads at home or reading to your child, again, especially at the elementary level, but definitely still into secondary as well. So as a secondary English teacher, I'm telling you, I can always tell when kids read at home and when they don't. So when I have a kid who's struggling with reading, they're struggling with decoding or comprehension, the number one thing I ask them is, tell me about, you know, when you go home, like tell me about the reading you do at home. And I don't mean like the novels or the poetry or whatever that we're reading for class. I mean like any reading that they do. And it's really common for my kiddos who are struggling with comprehension or they're struggling with summarizing. It's really common for them to tell me, well, I haven't spent a lot of time reading. Yeah. So it helps your teacher out immensely, and it helps your kid and you, if you take the time and make it part of a routine to read together or have your kid read by themselves every day. So I'm not gonna tell you how to parent. Like, I definitely am not trying to like get into that realm, but like I said, as a literature teacher, I can really tell the ones who read at home and the ones who don't, because especially once they get up to 8th, 9th, 10th grade, the separation or that gap becomes much more apparent every year. So like I said, it seems kind of ridiculous and kind of an odd gift for the teacher, but trust me on this one, it's a really big deal. So make sure that you're kind of fostering that environment of reading. Again, it doesn't have to be classics. I'm not asking you to read like Gatsby and Frankenstein and like Don Quixote and all that kind of stuff. I'm just asking you to read anything, but have a set routine of doing that. My next one, and again, these two are two more that you may not expect, but they're not things that don't cost any money. It's just something that will help your teacher out. And my next one is respecting their professional judgment. So I know it sounds kind of weird, but you'd be surprised. It really helps out any kind of situation, especially if you're not happy with the teacher or if the teacher's not happy with your kid or, you know, whatever, like those kinds of situations. Respect their professional judgment. So I'm not saying that teachers are never wrong, because just like anybody else, they can absolutely be wrong. But what I am saying is, if the teacher contacts you and says, hey, I'm seeing this from your kid, or, you know, whatever, make sure that you respect that they know how to do their job, because if you kind of create a dialogue where that's not apparent, it doesn't help anyone. So again, it's not something that probably comes up very often, but it's something in the field that we see a lot, especially with younger teachers. So yeah, like I said, it's not like don't ever question them, you know, don't ever do this, don't ever do that, don't ever talk to them, but respect their judgment as a professional, because teachers are professionals. So just keep that in mind. And finally, my very last one is kind of like respecting their judgment, but just remembering that you and the teacher are on the same team. So that really helps teachers out. It helps out your kid. It helps out you. Just remember, you are not on opposing sides when it comes to your students. So again, if I'm having to contact a parent, or if a parent's contacting me, you know, whatever, I always have to kind of remind the parent in one way or another that I'm here to help out your kid. I'm not getting him or her in trouble. I'm not trying to do this, not trying to do that. I'm just trying to make us aware that we're on the same team. We have the same goal to make your child successful. So again, the last four are things that you might not think about, but they really help out your teacher and they help out your kids. So with that, again, it's my 9 back to school gifts that any teacher would love. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, the teacher is not expecting any gift at all, especially a material object, so like don't think it's that way. But if you're in the gift giving mood, then those are some helpful ideas for you. So with that, make sure that you please like, comment, subscribe. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at yellowbrickexpat, same way it's spelled here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.